As an artist, I would say right now I'm actually pretty content. Over the last 2 years, I decided to do video. Before that, I was actually writing music. And a lot of my colleagues that I went to school with, they were saying that I should really pursue this. But then I just didn't feel, it was right for me. So that was also part of going home and trying to figure out what I want to do. And then, I think pursuing something in art, it's really feast or famine. And I think you kind of have to accept that and just roll with the punches that life gives you. And so, yeah, now I feel like it's all paying off because I really have tried to find the balance between what I need to do to support myself financially, which is, getting a part-time job here and there, and then having that extra time, which isn't much if you're working full-time at a restaurant or part-time, at an office gig, but it's really being disciplined with yourself to do what you want to do and really sacrificing, maybe like your social life for a moment, but the parties will always be there. I think part of my process of growing is just not to have too much or too many expectations upon myself and what life has to sort of offer. I mean, I feel your resources will always be there. It's just a matter of how you utilize them. And so I think if you kind of give yourself a contingency for chaos to happen, then your expectations will sort of balance. So my biggest struggles, I would say there's been a handful of struggles that I've gone through. One of them has been internally, and I think a lot of artists can relate to it, and I think it's really understanding who you are, understanding the boundaries you're willing to intake from other people, and then what you're willing to put out, because you don't want people to take all that energy away, because you need that to cater your craft. And I felt as though the last couple of years I've been struggling to really figure out who I am, because I used to be this like crazy wild party girl, whatever, and then all of that just sort of stopped, and I had to reevaluate my life and like, what am I really doing? Because I really want to do something with myself. I don't want to go out and party and get fucked up or whatever. So knowing who I was, and they say like people you meet, they're both your teachers and your students, and I feel if you're open-minded to learn and not be so stubborn, because you still need to grow as a person, that has been a good lesson. And I'm still going through it, so it's not like I fucking know everything. That, and also balancing work and play has been a struggle, obviously, but if you don't put in the blood, sweat, and tears, then you're never going to see it come into fruition. My artistic aesthetic, I would say conveying emotion. I mean, if the videos that I've, started off working, it was, nightlife party videos. But at the time, maybe a few promoters actually had someone that was shooting video for their parties, and the difference between my work and their work was the fact that I felt I literally captured the essence, whether I'm using an effect on certain scenes or whatever. But I mean, you can blast a party and make it look like it was fun by doing all these quick edits, or you can sort of dive into it and create this whole world of, people chilling out, having a good time, or rather than just like a, straight point and shoot. But aesthetically, it kind of goes back to what I want to do as a director, is to really capture things visually and tie everything together so it's nice to look at, but yet you're still getting the message behind it. I think the craft that I'm trying to build like with filmmaking, for an example, a lot of people tend to, because it's so oversaturated, a lot of people just tend to shoot and, you know, they just want to do like a quick edit here and there. But I feel like there are maybe few directors out there that are quite successful at what they do that still harbor the craft of storytelling visually, and that is something that I'm working towards as a visual artist. New York has helped me in the sense where I have to get out of my own comfort zone at times. You know, I've worked in, you know, like a bar for so long, so you have to talk to people, but then when I'm not working at a bar, I'm just like, I just don't want to talk to people, and I get really shy, and sometimes people might think, oh, you know, maybe she's a bitch. But it's not the case. I am just like super shy. And New York has definitely taught me to really go for what I want. Again, you got to know yourself. You got to be comfortable with yourself, and you got to accept rejection, which, you know, causes, you know, anxiety for some people like myself. But for an example, for this job that I'm working now, like 2 years ago, one of my really closest friends, I told him, you know, I'm moving to New York, and he goes, check out this company. So I looked at their website and I thought, holy hell, I don't think I could ever work in this place, like, at all. Like, the caliber of people that's on there to the work that they do, I'm thinking, no fucking way, right? So it's so bizarre because not even 3 years later, living in New York City, I'm now working for them as, you know, like, even though I'm an executive assistant to an executive producer, but, you know, I'm slowly moving into coordinating, you know, like commercials and stuff like that. So it's so up my alley. I just started, and it wouldn't have happened if, you know, because I was talking to a really close friend of mine, and he actually referred me to their LA office, and they got in touch with New York. I got a phone call. I send my resume. Next thing you know, I'm meeting with them, and it's just a simple meet and greet. And then they hit me up again, and they were like, actually, we need someone to fill this position. And the moment I walked in, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is when my intuition just kicked in. And second day, I walked into my now current boss's office, and, you know, he doesn't know me. He's looking at me like, who's this fucking crazy person? So I walk in, and I'm like, I want this job. Like, no ands, if, or buts. Like, I want this job. So it took 4 months of being patient and at the same time finding a balance to reach out to him. And next thing you know, like, now I'm working for them. So I feel like if you're persistent enough and you're just totally zen, I think you just got to find that sweet spot in your life and in yourself where it's just, like, good, and just ride it out, because sometimes you just never know how long it's going to, you know, stay there for. And I think if you stress out so much, you're just not going to see anything. My biggest lesson is exercising patience with yourself, and being nice to yourself and allowing time for yourself. You know, I was listening to online radio today, and this woman was very adamant about telling her listeners to have and allocate at least 30 minutes, whether you're doing yoga, whether you're doing running, whether you're sitting still, just allocate some time to yourself. In New York, you're so busy. You're living a schizophrenic lifestyle. You know, you're bouncing around from different places here and there, but you do need to sort of, like, taper off that energy some way or another, and finding alone time can be difficult. And, you know, I was just talking to my producer last night about this, and I've been working pretty fucking hard at this film thing and just trying to meet people and try to do some film stuff, and then at the same time trying to get a job that I really like. And, you know, again, it all just pays off, but you just have to be patient, because everyone's going to peak at different rates and at different points in their lives. And there's no, like, set destination, like, once you're 28, like, you're going to be successful. Like, it's not like that for everybody.